Okay, welcome back everybody. This is Roger Rieslick with the business website CEO.com. And as we continue to flesh out the Parallax Pro theme for Genesis, we have just created ourselves a custom CSS video, customs.css style sheet, and configured that to work with our Parallax Pro child theme in the last video. And in this video we're going to have some fun. We're going to go to town on actually changing the colors and some of the styling, mostly the colors in our installation here. So right now, for example, we have a black header that goes across here. We want to change that over to be brown. So what we're going to do is we can right click on this, and if you're using Chrome, which I highly recommend as a browser, then if you click on, you have the ability to click on Inspect Element. When you do that, either you're going to have a navigation bar that comes across on the right. By default, it's on the bottom. You can click and hold over here and get it to go either on the bottom or on the top, or break out into a separate window if you want to. I kind of like mine on the right for right now, but it can change it. So when you get this thing, you're going to have the HTML up here on the top and your CSS on the bottom. Makes it really easy and helpful to find out where the colors are, what needs to be changed, and basically to be able to change it on the fly, see what it looks like, and then grab the code and put it into your CSS file, or in our case the custom CSS file, and make the change permanent in our installation. So right now what we're interested in is the site header background color, which is this black here. And so what I want to do is, as you'll notice that as I hover over the different divisions over here on the right hand side in my in the what's it called, the developers tools over here on the right hand side, you'll notice it highlights over on the left hand side, which is really useful. So here's the title and here's the wrap, and we can see here's the site header. So really that's what we want to do, is see what the site header is, because that is, if we highlight and click over here, down below we get to see what what's going on with the CSS. And here you can see dot site dash header, which is the class that the site header is using, has a background color of $$000, which is black, right? It's no color, meaning it's black. What we want to use is our site background color. We want to be that brown. So what we can do is, on the fly, is I can go in here and I can actually change this. I need that $sign in the front, and when I do that, you'll notice that the background changes. Now that's not a permanent setting, that's not a permanent change in our site, but it's pretty cool, because what I can then do is say, okay, so I need to change the parameter for .site dash header, in other words, the site header class. And so what I can do then, and I need it to be this color, and I want that to I want to be background color is this. So what you can do is you can basically grab part of that like that, highlight it, right click and copy. Go back over to your back end where we have our custom CSS sheet. And by the way, you may have noticed that from the last video where I copied all that stuff in there, for this custom sheet I changed it just to be so the comment is only custom style sheet for the Parallax Pro child theme. It just takes up a lot less space and is very noticeably different than if in the event that we accidentally start to get into our style sheet or our style CSS, which you really don't want to customize at this point. So it makes it obvious what we're doing. So what I can do here is I can just simply paste, right click and paste this site header change. Now you have to be careful, because the way it works is you've got the class that you want to change, or the ID, and then you've got a curly brace, open curly brace. You've got the statement of whatever you want, declaration of whatever you want to change, background color. We want it to be that color, and you need to make sure that you've got a closing curly bracket or curly brace after this for it to work. So if we do this, then and scroll down and update the file, now we can go back to our blog and see if we refresh it, it stays, right? So had we not made the change, then it wouldn't have stayed. So we made it correctly. There is a note as far as using this editor, built-in editor. It's very convenient. There's a couple issues with it. First of all, if you do it wrong, you can cause problems. Not so much with the CSS, but definitely if you're messing with the functions, which we will not mess with this time. In a way, you're better off using a different text editor. But I'm going to use this method just because I don't want to get into having to explain how to set it up right now for different editors and things like that. There's FTP and things that get more complicated. This keeps it simple. Later on, if you get really into it, then you can start to get into how to, and I've made videos, will make videos on how to use different editors and hook them up through FTP, or using, for example, a WAMP server, which is a local server, to be able to do stuff with it. So now we've got the site header change. We've got a lot of changes here we want to go. See if we can go through them fairly quickly. We can keep going faster now, I think. So we're going to hit enter here. And the next thing that we want to change, let's go back to our page. The next thing we want to change, I think, is going to be we're going to change the base color of the links. Right now they're this reddish color. If we right click on a link and click on inspect element, then if we go down to the CSS part down here, we should be able to see that the A, being the A is for anchor text, which is basically what is known as a link. That A is a pseudo, as a built-in selector, and that is this color right here again, which is the red. We want to make it into different color. So the way to do that is we're going to go back over here to our custom CSS. We're going to type in A, curly bracket. I'm going to type a curly bracket open and a curly bracket close. Go back one, hit enter twice, go back up and hit tab, and we'll see how this works. Anyway, and now I'm going to say that what I want for the declaration, of course, is I want the color colon to be this color. This is just a color we've picked out, so there's no explaining to it. And then a semicolon after the declaration. And now I'm going to scroll down and click on Update File. And if I go back to the blog and we refresh the page, then now looks like it didn't really change it this time, did it? Let's see what I do wrong here. Should be okay. Oops. No Control S works here. You have to click on the update the file. Alright, well, let's go back here and see what we did. It says if we refresh this. There we go. Okay, so apparently it didn't like the tab so much. Tabs are really nice because it makes it so you can see what's going on a lot easier with this stuff, but I guess we'll do it like this. So anyway, now it's the brown color. That's the color that we wanted it to do. Okay, right there. Next up, what we want to do is we want to change the color for the current menu item. So, for example, right now if we click on home, then you notice that even if I'm not hovering, it turns red, right? And you'll notice over here on the right that, well, let's right click and do it, inspect element. There, now we're on it. Okay. Now you'll notice that here, what we've got here is, right here is all of this stuff, the Genesis nav, all this kind of stuff right here for hover is what we want to deal with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, first of all, I'm going to change this because I want this to be, that brown color again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this. I actually want that, the pound sign didn't copy, so I'm going to copy my stuff in. Okay, and now you can see it changes on the fly. If I'm not hovering over it, then the active page is that brown color. I want to keep that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down right down here, and I'm going to grab everything starting with this, the closing curly braces all the way up to the dot, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to copy. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over to my custom file. I'm going to go one line down, and I'm going to do Control V, and that's going to paste that in there. Now I'm going to save it, click on Update File, go back to my installation and refresh, and now it is, the active color is that brown color, just like we want. So now see, we're getting somewhere with this whole thing, right? It's pretty cool. Next thing we want to do is the hover color for the menu. So right now if we hover over it, still that orangish red stuff, right? We want it to be, the brownish color again, this color right here. So I'm going to grab this, copy, I'm going to go over here. Now there's a trick to this a little bit. We're going to go over and hover over it. I'm going to right click, I'm going to inspect the element. But if we look around for that color, we're not going to find it. We're only going to find white. So the way to do it is if we go all the way up here to the top, you'll see this arrow and over a box. This is toggle element state. If we click on that, we get a drop down. And if I can click on hover, then suddenly you'll notice a different box shows up down here, which is the site header widget area A hover. Okay, and so I want that, but I want that to be my brown, so I'm going to go ahead and put my brown in there. Okay, and now if I'm going to grab it. So I'm going to grab this from the curly brace up to the site header, and including the dot, right click and copy. But you'll notice then that if I uncheck the hover, it goes back to normal, but if I hover, I do get that brown that I want. So that's what I want. So I'm going to go back over to my custom CSS, go down the line, Control V, and paste that in there and click on Update the File. Now if I go back and I refresh and I hover over it, that orange is gone. I've got my brown. In other words, my change took. Alright, the next thing I want to do is I want to change the background areas for the home areas. So these are called home areas. This white back here, right? We don't want this white. We want it to be that brown. Okay? So how do we do that? Well, let's go in and see what the color is and how they've done this area. So I'm going to right click on the white someplace, click on Inspect Element, and you'll see it says here Home Even, and the color is white. Okay, so can I still, I think I have to grab my color again. See if I did it. Did I do it right? I did. Alright, so that's the, let's make sure that's the one I wanted actually. Yep, that's the same color we want. Alright, so that is the color we want right there. So I've added this in. You'll notice that now the even areas have turned to the brown color that we wanted. What we did is they made the menu a little bit darker, and we're going to make the footer a little bit darker than the rest of this. Anyway, I mean, you know, that is, you can do whatever you want to do. So I'm going to grab this again. I'm going to grab this whole thing, right click, copy, move over to my tab where I've got my custom CSS open, go down the line, Control V as in Victor to paste that in there, go down, scroll down, update the file, go back over to my website, refresh, and sure enough my changes stayed. That's good, they took. Next thing we want to do is we want to guess I haven't put in my haven't put in a opt-in box yet. That's alright. So we going to change in the A lot of stuff that we needed for the opt-in box there. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's skip over that. We'll come back to it. What I'm going to do next, I think, is we're going to mess with the pricing table styling. So for the pricing table, which is right up here, these two boxes, we don't really want them to be white. So what we're going to do is let's take a look at it again, what I did over here. So we also changed the text as well. Okay, so anyway, what we want to do here is we're going to go ahead, let's change this text on the styling, on this black, which we wanted to do over here, looked a lot better. Actually we did leave it black, didn't we? Okay, I give up. I mean, all right, let's do the buttons then. So the buttons, we don't want the orange. We really don't want the orange there. We want some brown and brown. So what we've got there as far as that is concerned is we've got, so if we hover over the button and right click and then click on inspect element, then what we have is down below we have a pricing table. A button is black and the border is black, and we don't want that to be black like that. We actually want the background color to be this color right here. We want it to be this color, and we want the border, I guess we made the same color as well. So that'd be a little bit tricky here because they've got multiple parameters here, multiple values, I guess. You want to just grab the hexadecimal code there for the color and then replace that, and now we've got that replaced. Okay, and now what we want to do is take a look at the hover, and the hover pops up here and we see this reddish color. Oh, actually we didn't change the first one, did we? Let's go back, let's uncheck that, get rid of this. Okay, we've made a change here, so let's go ahead and grab this, right click and copy, and go down to our custom CSS file. Now things that we've changed are not going to change. You don't want to specify again, so I'm just going to get rid of the color because we're not touching the color there. Alright, so I just did the background color, did the border, and I'm going to click on update file. We're going to go back. Alright, and then we are going to activate the hover, and then we see the background color for the hover, and the hover is going to be that other brown color that we had, this brown color. And we want the border to do the same thing. We want to make sure we just grab the color and not anything else. Alright, and there we go. So now, so we want to grab that, and so we don't forget about it, let's just grab that, copy it over to our custom CSS file, right click and paste. I don't need this thing in there because it's already in there, so I'm just gonna put in here what I'm changing. Click on update file, go back over here, and if we refresh it, then now we've got a dark brown button, and we hover, we've got the light brown button in each one of these, just the way we want it. So we're good there. So what else do we have? Let's take a look at our other one. So I mean, what's happening here is, the reason it's so huge is because I've got it magnified, right? And because I've got this open. Okay, so if you see this, then it looks, and also I can make it smaller. So this is what we've got right now. Looking much better all the time. We're working through it. We're almost there. We do need to, I wanted to add a form down there, which won't take too long. And we got a couple more changes to go. So let's see, this is going to be a longer video. Kind of a long video, but anyway, we're almost done. So the pricing table, hover styling, the footer background color. So let's take care of the footer background color, and then we'll stop this video and make a new one. So the footer background color, again, we're going to scroll down to the footer, right click, and click on Inspect Element. Takes a second, gives us our Google Developers Tools. So the site footer, the background color is this black. We want the footer to be one of the brown colors. In particular, we want it to be this brown color, like that. And now if we scroll down, sure enough, it is that color. So I'm just going to do this again. I'm going to grab this. You got to be careful, but I'm going to grab this up to here because I'm only changing this. I'm going to right click. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to go down a line here and I'm going to paste it in here. And now I'm going to make sure I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to put my curly brace there so it's done. I'm going to click on update the file, go back and refresh, and the color stays. Very good. Now we've got, so the we need to get rid of this hovering down here. So all we need to do is we're going to go hover over one, click on Inspect Element, go up here to our toggle, click on Hover. So we get our hover out there. Site footer A hover is this color. We want it to be the other brown color, which is this color right here. So we're going to grab that whole thing and right click copy, and we're going to put that in there underneath the site footer, and we're good. We've got closing brackets. Click on update file, go back or refresh. Alright, and if you hover, then the color is the brown and not the yellow or the orange, which is really good. I think one thing I don't have, I missed the buttons, and I think that the buttons we actually are going to change within the widget. So if we go back here to our widgets, go back in here to our widgets, and then we're going to go to, I think it's home number 5, where we've got our simple social icons, and go down here. Then we've got this hover color right here, and the hover color we actually want is on header section number 5 is the C color. Alright, so we're going to replace that here with our C brown and go all the way down and click on save, and that should take care of, if we refresh, that should take care of the hover over this. Okay, let's get rid of this for a second. Alright, we've got this. We got our contact form, which actually we never really looked at before, but this is our contact form. And I don't know if we switch that, we can fix that for our contact form. Let's see. Let me just look at something real quick. Contact page. Alright, so anyway, so if we want to, we can make this so this is brown. So we can right click on here, click on Inspect Element. What is that? That is the, so we see this up here. We see the black here. Do I have, yes, I've got that. So I don't know if that's what we wanted. We're going to have to fix both of them. So we want probably is the darker brown and the lighter brown again. So what we can do there is, let's see, so the darker brown. I believe the darker, if that's the lighter brown, this other one's the darker brown. Alright, so let's get rid of this. Make it like this. Okay. And again, I'm not doing anything else. I'm going to grab it way up here and go all the way to well, let's see how this works. Let's grab this like this and copy it. Go back over and paste that in. Alright, we need to go back over to our editor and go back down to our custom CSS and then go all the way down here to the bottom. Paste this in. Make sure we've got ourselves a ending curly brace. Update the file. Go back to our contact form and refresh. And it stayed. Okay, so that's good. Now all we need to do is take care of that hover, and that is going to be the one that starts with a C instead of a 5.2 or whatever, 5.7. So we'll go ahead and throw that in there and grab this all the way up to where it says button. It's a little difficult sometimes. There, right click, copy. Okay, and throw this down. And make sure we put our closing bracket in there. Click on update file. I'm going to refresh this. And okay, so I'm not sure. I'm thinking that we did it the other way though. Oh, let's see, where do we go? So when we did these buttons, we had dark and then light, dark and then light. So I think I might have that mixed up. Let's see. So we go back to contact page. Dark and then light, dark and then light. Okay, nope, that's right. Awesome. Alright, so what else do we need to do here before we need to break off on this video, which is pretty long? And no, I think that's pretty much it. Alright, so what I want to do, what we're missing, is if you scroll down here, I've got this sign up for free updates thing, which I think is really important to have on a web page. You almost always want to have some sort of opt-in to build up your mailing list on your front page. So I want to show you how to do this. So I'm going to add another video or two, hopefully 1 or 2 more videos to show you how to do that, and then we'll be done. So this is Roger Rieslick. Thanks a lot for watching. Hopefully this has been useful, and I will see you in the next video. If you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, and other social media. Thanks.